So for the past several weeks or so, I was in a slump. I felt dry inside, disconnected, and a bit disillusioned. It was a bit odd for me because ever since 6, 7 years ago, when my spiritual awakening intensified, I've always felt content, light, and connected to spirit. You see, my spiritual awakening intensified when I walked away from my job at the height of my career. During that time, even as my external world was falling apart, I was in bliss, in a spiritual high where I was practically floating on air. For a while, I was alone with no friends or family, basically just me and my bunny. But I never felt so whole, so connected. I felt so connected to spirit. I felt them constantly communicating to me in thoughts, in images, visions, through lucid dreams, and signs all around me. Spiritual wisdoms popped into my head, and I instantly understood esoteric things that I would have never known. Things like the energetic split happening in the world, about the true power of animals, about the wave of children being born, and etc. I wasn't just shown things about the world, but also about personal things and things about the people in my life and why certain wounds had to happen. It was an incredible time. And during that time, I was shown my life's purpose. I was called to come out of hiding and share with the world the insights that were shown to me and my perspectives. And well, these videos you're watching is part of all that. That spiritual high stayed with me for maybe about a year or so, but I've come down from it somewhat. That blissful, high-flying feeling started leveling off as I delved into figuring out the practical matters of my daily life. But I never came completely down from it and still felt the connection with spirit. I talked to them and they talked to me constantly throughout the day. But for the past several weeks, I've been feeling low. The connection I felt with spirit, it felt muted, cold. In my head, I knew spirit was there because, well, they always are. But I just didn't feel the connection with my body the way I did before. I even tried going on a camping trip to immerse myself in nature, hoping to get that feeling of connection back, but it did nothing. Maybe I'm regressing. Maybe I'm reverting back to my old self, I wondered. And then the doubt started. I began to think maybe all this time I imagined it all. Maybe all the signs, synchronicities, and communications were just a story I made up in my head to believe that I matter, when in reality I'm just an insignificant speck in the universe, in an indifferent universe. Maybe there's no spirit who is helping me carry out my life purpose and it's just all me. That's basically the slump I was in. So one day last week, I sat and talked to spirit. I could always connect with spirit when I write. Writing is a form of active meditation for me. When I write, I go into a deep focused state, and in that state, I'm able to communicate back and forth with spirit. Most of the video content you see on my channel is from this process. Anyway, so that's what I did. I reached out and asked, why do I feel so dry? Why don't I feel you anymore? And the answer I received was surprising. I was basically shown the mode I was in the past several weeks and why spirit had pulled back. This part isn't going to make sense unless I start at the beginning. Remember how I told you I was shown my life's purpose during the blissful stage? Well, afterwards for years, I've been working on producing content full-time. I've had some contract jobs here and there at the beginning, but essentially producing content like the video you're watching has been what I've been doing all day, every day. So how can I do that without making an income, you ask? Well, it's not easy. You have to have the tolerance to go without for an uncertain amount of time. And you have to have insane money management skills. which I have, not to brag, but bragging a little, thanks to the time in my life I was totally broke. Also, there were miraculous synchronistic events that happened that brought in some income just at the time I needed it the most. Anyway, but I'm saying all this to say that I've gone through years without making a steady income, and honestly, the whole thing was burning me out. And the more burnt out I felt, the more urgent I felt. And the more urgent I felt, the more I worked. I worked all day. I stopped taking walks or going on hikes. I neglected going to the grocery store to get fresh food. I used to cook nutritious meals every day, but I wasn't cooking much. And I wasn't doing much cleaning either. Without exaggerating at all, I would stay shut inside my apartment for days at a time that when I finally stepped out, it would hit me that the front door hasn't been unlocked for so long. That's how bad it got. I was essentially reducing myself to a tool, to some kind of content producing machine. I was in a just shut up, focus, and work kind of mentality. At the same time, I could no longer feel spirit, and this was bad on so many levels. Not only was it bad because I felt dry and alone, but also because I'm a writer who writes about spiritual stuff. For me, not to be connected to spirit means uninspiring, dull content. Do you know those spiritual teachers who started off being totally inspirational, but as time went on, their stuff started sounding insipid and dull? Well, that's where I was headed if I continued without being connected. There goes my life purpose. Anyway, that day when I sat down to talk to Spirit, all this was shown to me, including all the ways I had been neglecting myself. And then they said, this work we're doing it together. We refuse to do this work without you. In a flash, I was shown how I had disregarded myself, pushed myself back, forced myself to shut up and keep going. And I was shown how I had prioritized the work ahead of myself, ahead of my needs. And I saw that when I had disconnected from myself, Spirit also stopped going forward too. That's when I understood that I couldn't move forward despite myself. I had to go with myself. We're conduits. Our body is a conduit. Our mind is a conduit. Higher consciousness speaks and connects through the conduit that is our body and our mind. And so when the conduit is not being taken care of, then the communication line would become distorted or even cut off. If you're not feeling connected anymore, if you're not feeling the peace and contentment anymore, check to see if the conduit is okay, if you're being taken care of. Are you eating well, exercising, and doing things that make you happy? Check in with yourself to see if you're connected with yourself. And if you're not, repair the relationship with yourself first. Get that conduit right. I know life can be demanding and people need us, especially if you have small children running around or people who need you because they're sick. But reducing ourselves to mere machines that give and give and give, that's actually cutting ourselves off from the power source. We are delicate beings, and it's time we treat ourselves as such. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not constantly in the mood of giving. And I hope throughout the day you're taking moments out to give yourself some space to just be. I'm sending my love your way. Let me know in the comments if you felt a small little spark of warmth right now, because if you did, that was me. That was the love I just sent you. And please share with all of us how you reconnect with yourself and spirit. We can all use some tips, especially in this demanding world we live in. Until next time, regards, Great.